give some suggestions around how we could engage in more flow.
So if you read Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's book, Flow, and his other books, it's full of stories of people who have flow in their lives. These athletes who spend hours and hours, and these musicians and performers and scholars, scientists. One quick sign is if several hours have gone by and you forgot to eat and like lost track of time, then you're probably in a flow state. And when I read this first, I felt envy. I thought, man, what lives. And I don't have that sort of life. I don't maintain flow as much. There's another book now, Cal Newport talks about deep work, which kind of captures the same theme. And so I don't have any, if I knew the trick of it, I would do it myself. But what Csikszentmihalyi says is that entering the state of flow is the difficult part. Entering is taking the steps to find out, push yourself through the effort required to get into something, going to the gym, trying to learn a second language or so on. That's the difficult part. And once you're there, you could kind of get a habit of doing it. And, it's a very separate concern and focus on my book, but I'm kind of really into habits, and I'm working on, I do writing, work on another book, and every morning I try to work an hour on it, and I try to get into a state of flow, and I just purposefully try to kind of get really into it until I lose myself. And often I don't, because I have email and Twitter and so they distract me, and I let them distract me. But when I don't, my life is the best. When I'm the most pleased with myself. I'm the most satisfied when I put the extra energy to block out other distractions and enter a flow state. So I should, I shouldn't be telling people to buy my book, but if you had to just buy one book, buy Flow.
Well, certainly I think in terms of work habits, one way to start to identify that for yourself is just be a sort of a highlighter to that feeling state, and what is it that brings you that. And part of that, I also think, going back to children, and what I work on a lot with my children, is not rescuing them from boredom states, letting them stay in boredom long enough so that then they become creative, and not putting parameters around our creativity or our children's creativity, letting it just sort of go and see where it takes you. So that's certainly a lot of your work is sort of this creative pursuit of looking at things in different ways.
I think that's right. I'm far from the first to say this, but we have the terrible curse of now living in a world where it's kind of hard to be bored, because I have my phone right next to me, my computer, and kids can immediately find endless distractions and games and videos and social contact, and you miss the benefit. And in fact, one of the authors of the paper you spoke about is Aaron Westgate, who's written very eloquently about boredom. And idea is, boredom's a wonderful motivator. You get bored, you go somewhere with it. And so you're doing the right thing, I think, by letting your kids get bored and sort of saying, I don't know what should I do? And you say, well, figure it out. And that's such an important skill to have.